Hey everybody, this is Kathy with Fire and Mud Studios. Today we're going to be throwing a plate on a plaster bat. We're using the hydro bat. The reason we're going to use this bat is because it will allow the plate to release naturally and we won't need to wire it. Now the more we mess with our plate, the greater chance that it will crack or it will warp. So leaving it on that plaster bat for a day or two until it releases freely is advantageous. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of moisture on our bat. Now when we're throwing, we always want to make sure our knees are in line with our hips. So I've got my left leg on top of a brick and my right leg on top of the pedal. If you're starting out, I would suggest that you keep a brick next to your pedal, and that way you transition back and forth. Because sometimes as beginners we tend to lean forward, and now we're applying a lot of pressure and we've sped out of control on the wheel. I'm going to aim for center with my ball of clay and smack that clay down. I'm going to use my pinkies to attach that clay to the bat before I start coning and doming. Applying lots of water initially before we start our cone. This was a fresh piece of clay straight off the block. I find that coning and doming twice helps hydrate that clay, gets it ready to work. Right now I'm pushing down and away from my body. And now I'm going to cone up again. The second cone is definitely a lot more fluid than that first cone. Today we're using Laguna Speckled Buff Clay, mid-range, cone 5/6. Okay, this lump of clay is now centered, but we need to widen it because this is going to be a 10-inch plate. So I find the most efficient way for me to widen this clay is to use my forearm. I'm going to apply my forearm, wet sponge on top, and I'm going to lean into that clay with my body. If we started out centered, we should pretty much stay centered. We'll just have to do a little bit of fine tuning on that lip as we get wider. You can see it's a little off. I'm going to apply pressure with my left thumb, holding my space, supporting with that right hand, and now it's back to center. I still have to widen it because we're still not at 10 inches. Now I'm going to use the knuckle part of my fist of my right hand. I'm going to apply pressure and bring it out. Nice and slow. Almost be there. Checking that width. Half an inch more. And again, re-establishing that lip. Good. Plenty on both sides. Now the rim is a little bit thick, so this is perfect to create our plate. A bowl plate. flattening out that floor. Now I'm going to use the sponge in my left hand, applying pressure with my fingertip into my right hand, bringing up that lip. Holding that space, square off that lip. Okay. One more check. Perfect. There's my 10-inch plate. Now part of keeping plates in great shape is to compress this floor. If I were to just leave this, the likelihood that it would crack would be great. So I'm going to apply pressure, sliding from the center out to the rim and back in. Do this several times. I'm using the blue Cheryl Mud Tool rib. I like this one because it's pretty stiff and it does a great job of compressing that floor. So now I've taken off moisture, a little bit of clay, and now I'm ready to bring up this side wall. I'm going to use the sponge this time in my right hand. I'm going to apply pressure with the middle finger of my left hand and bring up that side wall. Nice and slow, nice and gentle. Both hands are connected for good communication between the two. Square off that lip. Clean up that little bit of moisture in the center. And then I'm going to trim in place. Using my my trimming tool as my rib. We're going to lift it off so we don't have to wire it, and these hydro bats are pretty firm, so this guy is going to stay in great shape throughout the drying process.